I'm going to show you how to make the half double crochet or half treble if you're using the English terminology. I prefer the American, I find it easier to follow. The way I do it is slightly different. This one is the conventional way, and you can see it creates some little holes which I personally don't like. I think it's a bit messy, and I find counting this way is a little harder because you count the turning chain as one of your stitches, which we'll go through when we go along. So the second way of doing it is how I do it. I don't count a turning chain as a stitch. As you can see, it's a much closer knit fabric, and I just find it looks a little bit nicer. So let's begin. You start with any number of chain plus 2, regardless of which way you're going to do it. So to do the half double, we yarn over and we insert the hook in the third chain from the hook. 1, 2 and 3. My swatch is going to be 5 stitches long. So when we've inserted the hook, we yarn over and pull through a loop. So we have 3 on our hook. Yarn over again and pull through all 3. That's your half double crochet made. So yarn over into the next stitch along, yarn over and pull it through, 3 on your hook again, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we just go to the end of our row. So we have 5 stitches. You see the little V's along the top? If you're following the conventional way, you could in theory count that as a 6th stitch, so I just find this really confusing, especially if you're learning to crochet. It's too much like hard work, and you'll see why in a second when I turn my chain. So we have to chain 2 regardless of which way you're going to do it. Now traditionally you'd use the turning chain, which is those 2 chains, as a stitch, and instead of starting in the base there, you'd start the next one along. So you'd go 2, 3, 4 and 5, which is fine on the first row, but then on the second you'll start to see that it makes a hole where the turning chain is. So my way is you yarn over and you do go into that base, and we just still do 5 half double crochet. So we're ignoring the fact that the turning chain is even there. So we work across. If you get stuck, don't worry. Sometimes your hook catches on the yarn, it's not a problem. And that's the last one. I also find this way pulls this turning chain up straight, so it makes it more square, if that makes sense. So that's our second row complete. We'll go again. But I'll just mention that if you were to do it the conventional way, you're going to be putting your hook in there as your last stitch, and it leaves a big gaping hole, which I just think looks hideous. So I do it my way. It served me well for long enough. So in the base of the chain, that's 2, 3, 4, and the last one. You have to look for that V. It's a little bit tricky sometimes. Reel that hook in there, pull it up a little, and that's your final stitch on your third row. Now if this comes a little bit loose, don't worry, just tuck it nice and neat. And that's how I do the half double crochet. If you want to pop back for any more video tutorials, please feel free. I'm going to be posting how I do all of the relevant stitches, the magic loop and circular crochet.